Hello and welcome to BYJU'S IAS. Let's get started with our daily quiz and look at question number 1. Which of the following statements regarding National AI Portal is or are correct? Number 1, it is a joint initiative by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, National E-Governance Division and NASSCOM. Number 2, it serves as a central hub for AI-related news, learning, articles, events and activities, etc. in India as well as beyond. The portal was launched in the year 2019. What is the context? This is today's PIB news. National AI Portal, INDIAai, celebrates its first anniversary today. Let's go back to the question and look at the answer. Statement 1 is correct because this portal is a joint initiative by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and National E-Governance Division and NASSCOM. NASSCOM is National Association of Software and Services Companies. This portal serves as a central hub for artificial intelligence related news, learning, articles, events in India as well as beyond. But this portal was launched in the year 2020, not in the year 2019. So statement 3 is incorrect. 1 and 2, B is the right answer. Now let's look at question number 2. The Great Gatsby curve deals with A, inflation, B, unemployment, C, inequality and intergeneration mobility, D, none of the above. The correct answer is C, inequality and intergeneration mobility. Now what is upward mobility? Now what is upward mobility? Let's say for example here is an individual X who is a street vendor or who is a poor individual. The child of this poor individual, because of education or any other factor, let's say clears civil services examination, becomes an IAS officer. So what has this child achieved? This child has achieved upward mobility. The Great Gatsby curve, it's a connection between the concentration of wealth in one generation and the ability of those in the next generation to move up the economic ladder compared to their parents. This curve, what it does, it shows that children from poor families are less likely to improve their economic status as adults in countries where income inequality is higher. For example, if this child belongs to a Nordic country, Nordic countries, for example, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, this child has a higher chance of achieving higher economic status as an adult because in these countries there is no grave income inequality. But if this child belongs to, let's say, Latin American countries, Latin American economies, the condition is worst because there is a lot of income inequality, which means Nordic countries, they do the best on this curve. The Latin American economies are the worst on this curve. So this Great Gatsby curve basically deals with inequality and intergeneration mobility. What is the context? This is a beautiful article in today's Business Standard written by T.N. Ninan. COVID-19 pandemic has affected everybody, but it has affected the poor the most. What will happen to the children of these poor individuals? Will they be in a position to achieve upward mobility or not? That's the question raised in this article in today's Business Standard. And if the children of these poor people are going to achieve upward mobility, then we will be mimicking East Asian economies. But if the children of these poor people in India are not going to achieve upward mobility, then we will be compared to the Latin American economies because the Latin American economies are the worst on this Great Gatsby curve. Let's look at question number 3. Which of the following are the 3 values of Olympism? What is the context? This is today's The Hindu newspaper, an editorial. The Olympic Games, which were earlier scheduled to be conducted in 2020, they were postponed because of the pandemic. Now they are scheduled for July 23, but we don't know whether the Olympic Games will be conducted or not. In this context, let's look at question number 3. Which of the following are the 3 values of Olympism? And the values are excellence, friendship, and respect. A is the right answer. Let's look at question number 4, but first up, let's look at the context. This is today's The Hindu newspaper. The center tells West Bengal Chief Secretary to report to Delhi. This decision comes after the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee skips meeting with Prime Minister on cyclone. An IAS officer may, with the concurrence of the state governments concerned and the central government, be deputed for service under the central government or another state government. We need to understand that we have something called central services. We have state services as well. And then we have all India services. That means all India services are in addition to central services and the state services. And these all India services, they are common to both center as well as states. And we have three all India services: IAS, IPS, and Indian Forest Service. These individuals are appointed by the center, trained by the center, recruited by the center, accountable to the center, but they work in the states. And the center can take the services of these individuals, these officers, on a well-defined deputation system. So an IAS officer may, with the concurrence of the state governments concerned, be deputed for service under the central government or another state government. Statement 1 is correct. But if there is a disagreement between the center and the state on the central deputation of an officer, the matter shall be decided by the CAT, Central Administrative Tribunal. This is wrong. The matter shall be decided by the central government. So statement 2 is incorrect. A, only one is the right answer. Because these officers, they are assigned cadre. An officer may belong to West Bengal cadre or a Karnataka cadre or a Tamil Nadu cadre. But then this officer can be deputed to the center as well. That's what we call central deputation. So A, only one is the right answer. Now let's look at a previous year's question paper, Prelims 2012. Consider the following statements. Union territories are not represented in Rajya Sabha. Union territories which have legislative assemblies, they are represented in Rajya Sabha. For example, Puducherry is represented in Rajya Sabha. Delhi is represented in Rajya Sabha. So this statement is incorrect. It is within the purview of the Chief Election Commissioner to adjudicate the election disputes. No, election disputes are adjudicated by the respective state high courts, not the Chief Election Commissioner. According to the Constitution of India, the Parliament consists of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha only. No, Parliament consists of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, as well as the President of India. So all these statements are incorrect. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? None. D is the right answer. Now let's look at the fact of the day, monoclonal antibodies cocktail. To put it simply, here is a virus and this virus is attacking an individual X. Now how is this individual X going to react to this virus? This individual's immune system will become active, will start developing antibodies, and these antibodies will fight the virus. Some individuals are able to produce these antibodies faster. Some individuals are able to produce these antibodies at a slower rate. So now this is basically a race between the virus and the antibodies generated by the individual's immune system. Whichever is faster is able to win this race. Now there is a breakthrough treatment against COVID-19. And what is that? Can we artificially create and enable the creation of more and more antibodies so that in this race between the virus and the antibodies are able to win and the virus is defeated, so that this virus does not enter the cells and multiply. This monoclonal antibodies cocktail is administered to a patient. It's a cocktail of casirivimab and imdevimab. This antibody cocktail shot into the limelight after it was administered to former US President Donald Trump. And this therapy reduces the chances of hospitalization by up to 70%. Of course, there are some conditions. This cocktail should be administered possibly within 48 hours of the COVID-19 infection or up to 7 days. But we don't have to get into these details. You just need to understand what this cocktail actually does. That is it from our daily quiz. Thank you for being with us. Have a great day.